Everything you believe is wrong. There was this thing invented called the black swan paradox, and it's where in the 1900s there was scientists who believed that there were only white swans. And so, they went around writing everything down about white swans, what they look like, what features they had, and none of them considered that there would be another type of swan. So for the next 5 years in history books, it was written that there was only the white swan. But then, after those 5 years, a black one was discovered. And this changed the history of how we study animals. This black swan metaphor isn't just me telling you that scientists are stupid or that history is dumb. It's me telling you that everything is unpredictable. Knowledge is never stable. It will never be stable. Einstein developed the theory of relativity. And sure, Einstein is a very smart guy. What he has said, I think it was 100 years ago, today is still proven, even after we discovered stuff that he hadn't known at the time. But a smarter man may still come along and make another theory that works better than Einstein's. So does that mean Einstein was wrong? Or was it just that what he knew only applied to specific circumstances? In an MBA, what you learn is what people have done in the past and how you can recover from that. So let's take an example. If I were to start a business and all of a sudden I'm not getting as many sales, and the college class of an MBA would teach me that if you're not getting sales, start to funnel more people to your website or whatever you're trying to sell. And this is recent. Say they learned this, the MBA classes got this from someone else who had gone to those same classes and told them about their experiences. The MBA itself is evolving. It's like a parent. Our parents are still learning. They themselves are getting older, gaining wisdom. But when we're small, we believe that they know everything. But that everything is only of what we need to know. Our parents now, if they're 40 or 50 or 60, they're learning about what's it like to be in the middle of your midlife crisis. What's it like to have your parents pass away? What's it like to have two kids who are 15 or 20 or 25 or 30? They're learning that their life is no longer what they believed it would be. And specifically to this generation, they're learning what it's like to not have enough retirement funds. They're learning that they have to work even longer than 65 just to stay alive and cover their basic needs. The smallest of decisions that come along can change the entire course of history. Let's look at World War II. Could we have expected World War II? Probably not. Or World War I. Or the flu pandemic. Or the Black Plague. These are all black swans. Stuff that is unpredictable, but changes everything. We look to the past to try and determine the future. And you can see this because people tried to predict the coronavirus. They said, oh, every 100 years, there's been a virus. So I think there was one in 1720, there's one in 1820, there's one in 1920, and 2020. We're going to predict that the next one is going to be in 2120. Will we be right? Probably not. We might have one before that. We might have a world war come before that. We try to look to the past to determine the future, but we never take into account these rare, unpredictable things that come along. And the worst thing that can happen is an imbalance of either side. The news is too many black swans. The only thing the news shows us are the critical, extreme sides of what's happening on Earth. Iraq is again at war with Syria. The Jewish have been killed again. There's a new virus. There's monkeypox. The Biden fell off some stairs. I don't know, whatever they post on there. These are the extreme sides of reality. You're either looking at the basic, trying to recognize patterns, or you're looking at the extreme, where rare events seem normal. And once we start to normalize these rare events, we feel like our lives will also go like that. We see that on the news that people in poor areas and poverty-stricken areas are scary. That you have higher chance of getting murdered there, of getting robbed there, getting kidnapped, so we don't go there. And yet, from my personal empirical evidence, when I went to one of these poor areas, these villages, they were nicer than the ones I had met in America, in Canada, in these developed countries. They came over, offered me food. They offered me to stay in their homes with them. They offered to cook me for the night and for the day tomorrow. They offered me a place to sleep. They were happier than the people in the West. But I still believed that these people were going to kidnap me. That they might take me into one of their homes and try to rob me of all my money. So I declined all their offers. And to this day I regret that. Normalizing either side of the spectrum will lead you to turmoil. But what if you can take this black swan opportunity and use it to your advantage? What if you could look at, say, rare business opportunities, rare investment opportunities, and get rich? What if you could look at rare travel opportunities and use that to fill your life with more experiences? Normalize these rare things. But sadly, humans are more prone to normalize negative things. Bombs, fights, murders. If we could learn to normalize finding business opportunities, to solve problems, we will become rich, we will become happy. Intelligent people try to find a way to take these black swan things and black swan events and put them into some kind of mathematical formula. And this is exactly what we saw when I was talking about people normalizing pandemics happening every 100 years. When you hear it from an intelligent person, they just find a more intelligent way to put it into words. And this is exactly what I'm doing right now. I read this from a book that is very incomprehensible. It's called The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. Very incomprehensible. I had no idea what he was saying. I had to read through multiple times just to get the core idea. And how I'm saying it to you now is the best way I can formulate it based on my intelligence. Although I know he is smarter than me. The way I say it will sound stupid, but if you read it the way he said it, he will sound like a genius. That's what I thought. Some professions are not really professions because of these black swan opportunities. They're taught to find patterns which don't even exist. This is why actually most people with MBAs, say from a normal college, will not do well. Most of their businesses will fail. Although they do have a higher chance than someone who didn't get that degree, they still have a chance at failure. But if you go to an Ivy League, if you go to Harvard Business School, one of the best in the world, your success rate skyrockets. Why is this? It's because they gathered more empirical evidence. They gathered more black swans and normalized those black swans. They were able to take them and put them in a way that was easier to understand. many more people must have reported their business and how it was going and how they solved problems to Harvard than they did to a local state university. The only reason Harvard or any of these Ivy Leagues, Princeton, all of the ones you know, are ahead are because they have more empirical evidence. They have more experiences from people who own businesses and who have a stronger grip on what it's like to own one. From people who run billion-dollar businesses to family-run ones. And it's like this with almost every single profession. Almost. There's a very small percentage that is based on just using creativity. And that's why in one of Nassim Taleb's books, and something Naval Ravikant has said, the future is not us maximizing productivity. It's not us trying to find a way to fit the most hours of work in our entire day. Instead, it's us playing. It's us being creative, finding ways to take what we know and solve problems. The world is heading into that. I'm not sure if it's a good thing. I'm not sure if it's a bad thing. That's very subjective. But if you could take one of these black swan opportunities and learn how to recognize them in any scenario, you will come ahead.